So I got into a fight recently. It was a road rage sort of incident, and I realized something. It wasn't. It was literally yesterday. It wasn't like a big fight. Fights usually aren't that crazy because people, I don't know. People just, I don't know, man. Anyway, this guy comes at me, jumps out of his Audi, a whole Audi, right? So he jumps out of his car, an Audi, and he starts trying to throw hands at me because I was walking across the street and he turns. You're supposed to slow down when you turn, right? He goes fucking right, trying to kill people, and he turns and almost he stops the car like right in front of me. I'm just like, so I step back, let like just to let him go past, and he doesn't. So I walk around and I see dude opening the car door, and I'm like, dude, in my mind, I'm just like, chill. So this is the problem. We have been sort of grown up to not know how to deal with conflict. We've been sort of brought up in a way that when situations like that arise, we get nervous, we get tense, we don't know what to do, right? I used to be like that, and I think getting strong, learning how to fight, was an extremely important part of my being able to handle myself in these situations or in that particular situation, right? Because instead of feeling nervous, instead of feeling, you know, the feeling you get when you're, I guess, anxious. It's similar to the feeling where you're scared of approaching a girl. You see a pretty girl and you're like, oh, oh. But this one might be a bit more, you know, higher on the scale of anxiety. Instead of being anxious, you're somewhat calm. Not to say you're completely calm, but because adrenaline, but you're so in more control than you would be if you didn't know how to fight, if you weren't strong. So he comes at me and tries to hit me 3 times. I'm obviously blocking, right? I think that because I'm a beginner in terms of fighting, um, blocking is my best bet. Trying to dodge, I might do something silly and get myself hurt. So blocking is my best bet. I think the more advanced you get, the more you have freedom of choice, and then you can either weave or block and counter, right? But because I'm a beginner, blocking is my best bet. I know that I'm going to tank the shots. So he tries to strike me 3 times. I block, right? My hand's like here, and then I move it here to block properly. So he hits me like 3 times here, and he's shouting, and I'm just like, dude. In my mind, there was there was a little part of me that said, don't fight, and that's what I want to address. I hate that. I think that we have been, in a way, sort of persuaded to not be angry, to not be fighters, so to speak. I use the game God of War as reference a lot. Um, when Kratos was young, my friends know this, but anyway, when Kratos was young, right, he always he would was just okay, let's fight. Okay, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Bro was angry. Bro was just he had enough, and he was done like with pretty much everything. Not to say that it's what he wanted to do in context of the story, but just to say that he allowed the anger to consume him. Let the rage of the what was it? Let the blades the rage of the titans consume your blades. That's one of the lines or some shit. And God of War 1, um, yeah, whatever. So he allowed that anger to consume him. Now, the problem with allowing it to consume you is that you're reckless and you could end up doing something that could get you in a lot of trouble. and you could end up doing something that you didn't intend to do. So it's a tricky sort of slope, but I think altogether we have sort of been suppressed in that sense, where now we live in a world where instead of being angry and fighting, the thing that is promoted more often than not is the new God of War. Be better. It's like, shut the fuck up. I mean, as much as it is a good message, it's a good message for a person at a particular point in life. It's not a good message for me. I I relate more to the young, angry, ruthless, lawless Kratos than I relate to the old, wise, calm, better Kratos, right? And I say this because I think it's a journey you have to go through. You have to go through a point where you're allowing the true emotions to exist instead of suppressing them. We constantly suppress our anger, we constantly suppress our just as men, we just suppress our emotions because it's just something we're told not to have. Essentially, we're told not to be emotional. But I think there are many sort of flaws in that way of building up a man, and it leads to a lot of it's like a capsule that will end up exploding because of the lack of expression in this particular case. So in Stoicism, you learn that it's Stoicism in itself is not the elimination of emotions. And that's what people tend to mistake it for. It's not eliminating your emotions so that you become an emotionless being, but rather the domestication of those emotions so that they are under your control. And that is the end goal, at least the idea of what the end goal is. But not everybody gets there, and it's not easy to get there. And then on top of that, it's dangerous to go on that journey. So in this particular case, I had that little voice that said don't fight. And in a way, I really dislike it because I hold myself back. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe if I didn't, I'd end up in jail, right? So it could be a good thing, but I think there's a degree to which it is good and a degree to which it is bad. And the just not, I don't know how to say it. I genuinely don't know how to say it, but you need to let loose at some point. You need to allow yourself to get angry and express that anger. And if it's a situation like this, which, I guess I wasn't even angry. I don't really get angry. I can get annoyed, but not angry, to be honest. In a situation like this, where I still had control of myself, um, I felt as though that voice was hindering my growth in a way. Because, like Kratos in God of War 1, 2, and 3, he would never have become the Kratos we now know, be better. He would never have become that guy if he did not go through the journey of being Kratos in God of War 1, 2, 3, Chains of Olympus, Ghosts of Sparta, and all that shit, right? He would not be the person he is today without his past. And there's a degree to which it's necessary to go through that. Of course, you don't have to be killing all the fucking gods in Olympus and more, and then some. Right? You don't have to kill everybody you see in your sides. You don't have to fight and do all the gorgons and all the shit. Um, but there's a degree to which you have to let that anger out so that you understand it, so that you can then domesticate it instead of sort of suppressing it, which is what we often do, which is what we do. We suppress our emotions, we suppress ourselves, we suppress our true feelings instead of expressing them in a way, in a controlled manner. And that's what's important. That is what's most important. So, back to the story. He's attacks me a few times and he's angry, saying whatever he's saying. I don't remember what he was saying. And then he goes for a fourth time. On the fourth time, I block an uppercut, right? Because his form was crazy. His form was horrible, right? So I just block a quick uppercut. But he was tall and lanky, so he was hitting me, but his head was like all the way like where you are, and I'm here. So I had to block and do that, right? Fully extend. I caught him here with the front of my knuckles. It's a horrible punch, right? That's honestly do better, bro. But anyway, I got him with the front, hit him here. He had glasses on, his glasses went flying. Uh, and after that one hit, he calmed down. He really calmed down. He went from 100 to a 25. He fucking calmed down. Um, but he was still mad. So I'm like, I just look at him like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he like sort of stops being all hyper and whatever, and then he goes to pick up his glasses. I should have stepped on his glasses. This is what I'm saying, right? This is what I'm saying. If someone is attacking you, I think the reason we're sort of taught to take it in the ass essentially is because there's an agenda to make us not fight back against the evils that are being done onto us. There's of course the ideas of Christ where it's turn the other cheek. Yeah, but no, right? Right? I'm not agreeing, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying like I don't know. I can only agree with that later once I have understood. But to just to I don't know. I don't know, right? Things like that I tend to not have opinions about. What's your opinion on this? I don't have an opinion. And I swear I've said that so many times. People ask me, what's your opinion on women and blah, blah, blah? I don't have an opinion. What do you think about this? I don't think about that. I genuinely do not think about it. So, and I think that's just such an awesome response to have because they can't do anything. What's your opinion? I don't have an opinion. But what do you think about it? I don't think about it. That's why I don't have an opinion. Moving on. Moving on. Um, cool. So there's all this stuff about turning the other cheek. To some degree, it is noble, it is good. But I think there's a degree to which you need to be able to fight for yourself. You need to be able to, I guess, fight against those that fight you, those that try to oppress you, those that try to enforce their radical, tyrannical rules and laws or whatever it is. They just try to dominate you and oppress you. And it's necessary to have the ability, the competence, and just the will to fight against that and not be anxious and not be nervous and not sort of, oh, whatever, but actually fight back and be capable of winning. And it's like, that's not something that's taught. That's not something that, you're advised to do whenever people think about fighting, it's always a bad thing, right? But you have to you have to do it for yourself. So anyway, he picks up his glasses, starts walking back, but he's still rambling on about something, right? Um, and I'm a wee bit annoyed, just a wee bit, just a wee bit, a little bit annoyed, right? I'm not I'm quite annoyed. I don't really get angry, but I do get annoyed. So I'm annoyed, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck do you mean? Because I guess he was saying that in a way I'm in the wrong, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck do you mean? Do you not realize that if you had hit me, you would have to pay? Like you would be in more trouble than I would be. Of course, sure, I'd be hurt a little bit, a little graze here and there, but you would have to fucking pay. Money would come out of your pocket. As much as I need to be careful because I'm walking and it's dangerous, and maybe I wasn't the wrong. So, okay, cool. You need to be more careful because that's blood on your hands. If, like, to the extreme extent, that's blood on your hands. To the small extent, which it really was because he was just turning, it might have been like a good 30, 30, 40, 40 is a lot. 30 kilometers per hour, maybe even 25 or some shit. So just a break and what. So I was like, dude, if you had hit me, I'd have been grazed, but we call the cops. You're in trouble, right? You're in trouble. You have to take money out. That's just extra cash being spent for no reason. Something that was clearly avoidable. Just slow down when you turn. And he's whatever, right? And his friend steps out of the car. Now I'm like, oh shit, this is a 2v1. Okay, so push this guy and I fixated my attention on his friend. Again, I had my hoodie up, my earphones in. This was very bad play on my side. I was playing with like both hands behind my back. Anyway, so his friend comes out and he's yapping some shit. Imagine I'm listening to the most soothing, calm music on the planet whilst all of this is happening. All this music is just calm. I'm listening to you wouldn't know it anyway. You wouldn't know it. But I'll play it, but you wouldn't know it. But anyway, if you do know it, hey, that's pretty cool. But anyway, um, calm music and all the shit's going on. So that was funny to me. Uh, and his friend is yapping about meow 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 this that you blah blah how you gonna blah 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 and I'm just like dude, shut the fuck up, get back in the car and fuck off. That's exactly what I said, but with more enthusiasm. um, and he was like, whatever, whatever, whatever. And I just told him, dude, you're talking nonsense right now. And I just repeated what I said. And then I was like, so get back in your car and fuck off. With more like, aggression. Get the fuck back in your car and fuck off. And then the guy and this guy turns around right after I say that because he sees I'm like, dude, get the fuck back in your car and fuck off unless you want something to happen. So he turns around and I turn around and I'm just like, dude, I swear. And I turn around to walk away, right? Funny thing, never turn your back on the enemy. Um, the first guy, while I was telling him that you're in a car, you're supposed to slow down, he turned his back on me, right? And I could have taken advantage of that fucking suplex, fucking tripped him, fucking sucker punch. Not even sucker punch, he knows it's coming. Just uppercut again, but proper this time. Or just cross, whatever. He turned his back on me, and I'm like, that's the dumbest thing to do. He was like much taller than me. That's why it's like when people say all this whole height thing, it's not about height. It's about whether the person can fight or not, whether the person is actually strong or not. So it's not about height. If the person's tall and he's jacked and he's strong and he knows how to fight, big trouble. If the person's tall and he's just fucking normie, like he's just whatever, it's like okay, dude, I'll fuck you up. What, right? But so I'm not a short guy. I'm like 4'2". This guy's like 17 foot 12. So there was a little bit of a height difference, but um yeah. he turned his back on me. So I turn my back when I see, okay, this thing's over, might as well just walk away. So I turn my back. This guy's going back. This guy was already dealt with. When I tell this guy, get the fuck back in your car and fuck off, I turn around. He turns around first, right? I make sure he turned around first. I just want to note that he turned around first. So when he turns around, take 2 steps back or 3 steps back, and then I turn around. And then his friend says, "What did you just say? I say what you just said again. Say what you just said again." And I swear, I look back, right? And I'm gonna turn around, but there's another thing in me that said, just leave it alone. Now, his friend then catches him like, hey, stop, hey, get back, hey, just leave it out, saying what he is saying. And I look back, I'm like, fucking idiot, right? To myself, not out loud. I low-key feel like I should have been like, fuck you and your mom and your whole family, right? Just to make him mad so I can, go all out. Because ever since, like, yeah, let me not even say that on camera. But just to go all out, just to see what would happen. But it's a really risky thing to do, especially in the country I live in, especially in the place it happened. Yeah, that's not the kind of place you want to be fighting random people. But I walked away. Um, And to a degree, I guess I would say it's a good thing that those voices in my head were saying the things that they were saying. No Randy Orton. But the voices in my head were fucking telling me to chill. Whereas there was this one thing in me that was like, dude, I want to fight. And it's that. I think that as younger guys, we need to get that experience, that sort of feel that fight. We need to allow that to happen sometimes. Now, the problem is that the consequences of doing that could be dire. Perhaps I thought of this whilst walking because I was gonna hop in a taxi, but I was just like, let me just walk a little bit just to fucking calm down. um, consequences, he could have gone in the car and gotten something that gave him more confidence. Because after getting punched in the face, he went from 100 to a 20 or some shit in terms of confidence. Like, so he knew, like, oh shit, I've lost this fight. He punched me in the face and it hurts. It probably really hurt because, yeah, no, that probably really hurt. I'll be honest. I punch walls and trees, right? I'm strange. So that probably really fucking hurt. uh Hard hands. And he probably got something from his car that gave him a little bit of confidence, right? So if I had continued the fight, who knows where a man could have ended up, underground, in a hospital, who knows, right? So these voices are good to the degree that they sort of prevent those things from happening, but they're bad in the sense that you're too compliant, you're too accepting of what happens to you. I remember in school I got punched in the face once, and it was by a guy um, I could have fought and won against, to be quite honest. But I got hit in the face and I just looked at him like dead ass in the eyes. And in my mind, I was like, I swear if you do anything else, we're gonna fight. But I let the first hit slide. And after just staring him down, it's like you can sense when another person sort of is de escalating. They realize, oh shit, I did that. Oh shit, okay. And now they're de escalating things on their end. You can see that. And essentially, that's what I saw with the guy after I punched him. And that's also what I saw in this guy. This was like, I was in the ninth grade. I saw it in him when I just stared him down. Uh, and I was in my mind, I was just like, please do something again. Please try anything again, right? And he didn't, of course. And he just like backed up, turned around, and walked away. And I just shook my head and walked away. But that's the problem, right? You get hit, you get hurt, you allow certain things to happen to you. It's like the scene in God of War where he's telling the guy, leave my home. And the guy punches him a few times. And he was like, you don't want this fight. The guy was like, I think I do. And he punches him a few times. And Kratos just tanks the hits, right?
I'm pretty sure I do.
Leave my home.
You are going to have to kill me for that to happen.
I warned you.
Finally.
You're allowing a certain level of, I don't want to call it oppression, but maybe that's what it is. You're allowing a certain level of the enemy inflicting pain upon you. You're allowing yourself to be damaged. It's like if you were a tribe, two different tribes. This one throws or shots, bombs, whatever, and attacks these guys. And these guys get damaged a little bit, but they do not react. In not reacting, you allow that damage to just happen. And it's, to a degree, it's good, but to a degree, it's bad. Because in allowing that, you either realize that you're facing a tyrant that is going to continue until he's destroyed everything, or you just lose people in terms of the tribes, right? You lose a few villages and you gain nothing. You just lose people for no reason, just because another person was angry and you decided reacting was not the better option and it would be better to just let it go, right? Turn the other cheek. So, as much as it is good advice, as much as it is a better thing to do, it happens, and there's a sense of I must not allow this to continue. There's a sense of I must fight against the enemy. That sense of just dude, no, no. There's a line, you cross the line, we're done. I think that there is a sense of you need to sort of experience that side. Carl Jung talks about it in his theology. I guess we will call it that. In his ology, right? His ology, which is the ideas of the shadow, where there are these unexplored sides of yourself. You have not ventured into the darkness of your psyche. And you have not done so because you are one, too scared, and two, socially conditioned to not do so. Because if you do so, you will be rejected, you will be thrown aside, you will be cast out of the tribe, and you will die. Basically, right? That's the kind of emotion that is sent out to you when you do things that you're socially conditioned not to do, that go against the social norms. You get those feelings and those emotions of shit, you know. I'm gonna be judged. I'm gonna be this, that, and the third. And we're conditioned not to because I don't want to say it's a bad thing, but also don't want to say it's a good thing. It really because it helps. It helps. These things aren't horrible for a society to function. They actually benefit society in many ways, but just because something benefits the the whole does not mean it benefits the individual. And I'm thinking in terms of myself and individual. So when thinking in terms of myself, I see that this level or this type of conditioning is not okay. It's not something I want to continue to follow. It's not a path I want to walk because I find that there must be the exploration of the dark side in order to actually find the light and understand the difference between darkness and light, the ability to distinguish the two, and to balance yourself in a place where you have made the decision to act in a particular way, whether that is the decision to be on the side of darkness or the decision to be on the side of light. It is a decision that you have made, a way in which you have chosen to live your life. I think that is better to do than it is to allow the society to dictate the way you choose to live your life. I really do think that it's important to explore both sides. And we're so fixated on the light side that we fail to recognize the potential for growth that exists in the exploration of the dark side as well. We all look towards the light because we're scared of darkness, not because we understand what darkness actually is. I think there's a phrase by Friedrich Nietzsche where he says, if you gaze too long into the abyss gazes back at you. I think that it shouldn't just be a gaze into the abyss. You should actually jump in. I take it further than just gazing into the abyss. I say jump right in, fall into that hole, right? And this is a very scary thing to do, very dangerous thing to do. You might not come out alive. In all honesty, you might not come out alive. That's how serious it is. So be very careful when doing something like that, when jumping into the abyss. Sure, gazing into the abyss is kind of scary. Jumping in is. Quote by Marcus Aurelius: Death smiles at us all, but all a man can do is smile back. Learning how to smile back is the hardest thing you'll ever do. Pretty much the hardest thing you'll ever do. And it's a journey that sort of doesn't end because, shit, I don't even know how to explain it. I think that's beyond the vocabulary I have at this current stage in my life and beyond the mental bandwidth on upon which I'm able to expand, right? It's beyond my cognitive abilities. um, so I just think it's important to learn how to fight, to be strong, and to be capable so that you can stand on your own square, your own ground, and have your own boundaries and rules. And if people cross those, you have ways in which you respond to that. Not to say that it must always be violence, unnecessary violence is retarded, but rather that when violence is necessary, act in violence. But when it is not necessary, don't act in violence. It's like you have the tools in your arsenal when they need to be used. But until they need to be used, you don't use them. Some people, and this is the problem, this is why I say it's dangerous, it's like a slippery slope. Some people use the weapons when the weapons are not needed. Some people pull out the nine just walking on the street. Someone bumps into them, hey, what the fuck you think you're bumping into? And it's like, dude, okay, you got jacked, you're strong, you learned how to fight, but now you are the tyrant that we need to defend ourselves against. Like you have become the very thing we're talking about when we say we need to learn how to fight against these things. You have become that thing. A lot of people do that. And incompetence, to say the least. Just plain and simple. It's just incompetence. So, when it comes to that, yeah, that's why it's a difficult topic to talk about. But in all honesty, if everybody was strong enough to defend themselves, even those that wanted to be tyrants would not be able to do so because the people they would try to oppress would have the ability to fight back. They would have the ability to fight back. But nowadays, people don't even do that. They just pull out guns and knives and shit. So, whatever. Be careful out there, right? Um, and yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Just a matter of allowing yourself to express your emotions, but not be consumed by them, so to speak. But allow that. I think I didn't say that right. Let me rephrase. Let me rephrase that. Let's step back a bit. Allow yourself to express your emotions. Allow yourself to be consumed by them, but do not be in reaction to those emotions. Keep them in a place where they are tamed like a pet, disciplined by you, the master, and not in a place where they are the rulers and they dictate what happens in your life. Because if you are led and driven by emotions, yeah. Anyway, do not allow that to happen. It's a very dangerous path. It doesn't end well for anyone. Um, yeah, it's pretty much it. Tame your emotions, discipline them like a pet, like an animal, so that when they act up, you're still in control. And you don't get yourself into situations like, say, for instance, I had a gun or a knife, and this guy comes and attacks me, and I think, oh, he's attacking me. Bang, bang. Crazy, right? So just be cognizant of these things. It seems not a lot of people are. This guy was in a whole Audi. I was walking. I don't have a car. I don't have a car. Can't afford that shit. Bro was in an Audi. Anyway. So wealth does not imply what I'm trying to say there is that wealth does not imply competence. Height and like just does not imply it. You need to be competent in every field. You need to be competent. Literal competence, be able to articulate yourself, be literate, um, physical competence, be strong, capable in terms of knowing how to fight, mental. I think just be competent. And it's easy to say, it's not easy to do. That's why not a lot of people do it. That's why not a lot of people are. So yeah, with that being said, I'll catch you on the next one. Uh, Stay safe.